This is Ron Carter. If I were to bring up Butler County, Pennsylvania, what would come to mind? Well, what if I were to tell you that nestled throughout this mostly rural southwestern Pennsylvania county are hidden treasures filled with art, beauty, and culture? And what if I were to tell you there is now a program dedicated to showcasing those treasures? A program that we like to call Showreel. More than 15 years ago, the Butler County Community College completed a capital campaign to have a science and technology center built right here on their campus. But thanks to the generosity and philanthropy of a local couple, they got much more than that. Welcome to the BC3 Cultural Center. I am with Larry Stock of the Butler County Community College Cultural Center. Larry, thanks for joining us for Showreel.
Thank you, Ron. It's great to be here with you.
And what kind of programs can I find at the Succop Theater?
There is a little bit of everything here at the Succop Theater. We have had, over the 15 years previous, we've had just about everything in here you could possibly bring into a theater. Between what I present through the Performing Arts Series that I curate, and the community rentals that we do. We've had just about everything here on this stage that you could possibly bring in here.
So the theater is even available for rent?
Absolutely, it is. When we can rent it, the dates are hard to come by, and we usually book a lot of things a year in advance. So if you're interested in a date, call me and we'll start working out things and see where we can get a date for you.
Well, that's fantastic. So this is a state-of-the-art cultural center where you present all these wonderful professional programs, but also the community can come in and use it if they arrange for it in advance.
If we have the space and we can do it, absolutely.
Fantastic.
We've been home to Butler Musical Theater Guild, Sing Hosanna, Hobnob Theater. We do the Miss Butler County, Miss America pageant here annually. We also host the Greater Harmony Chorus has been coming here the last few years.
Really?
The barbershoppers, they come up here and have a wonderful time here.
Amazing, it's great. So there's all kinds of great stuff at any given time of the year.
Yeah, anytime, any month of the year, you're going to find something interesting here at the theater.
Well, what's coming up in the very near future?
Well, the very near future, I'm excited about my 16th Performing Arts Series, which we had, of course, last year was our 15th season, but this is our 16th season.
Right.
I just got my brochure out into the mail, and I'm very excited about the season. I have 4 performing arts events that I present, 4 concerts by the Pittsburgh Philharmonic, which they've been performing here at the college for probably 40 years, between the summer concert series we used to host,
sure,
and my series that started 15 years ago. They started the first year of the holiday concert. Well, a few years ago they decided they wanted to do all 4 of their concerts here, do them once here and once in the Pittsburgh area. So I'm thrilled that I have the Pittsburgh Philharmonic here for 4 different concerts.
That is terrific.
And then I started doing a local artist series because, as you know, there's a lot of local talent here in this region.
Absolutely.
It's incredible the amount of local talent we have here in the Butler County area. So it's fun to bring in the local artists, and it's amazing the support we get from the community for this.
Great.
So, but coming up this year, I'm excited to bring back Bodyography, contemporary ballet. They are out of the Pittsburgh area. They were one of my second season. They were here. I contacted them 2 years ago and said, would you be interested in doing a show? I said, oh, absolutely. So they're coming back, and they've actually become my resident ballet company.
Fantastic.
They're wonderful. It's not traditional ballet. It's more contemporary dance, but they use ballet elements.
Sure.
And it's incredibly wonderful. It's really a good dance. I'm also excited to bring in the national players again. I've had them here over the 15 years probably 8 or 9 times. They are the oldest theater touring company in the United States, out of Olney, Maryland. And they're all college graduates, recent college graduates, young kids. And they come in and unload the truck, put the sets together, put their costumes on, perform the show, take their costumes off, put their jeans on, load the truck and take off. Amazingly talented. They're coming in to do Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, that
which
sounds
is
very exciting.
it's a world premiere of this particular production.
Sure.
And that'll be coming up in November. I'm very excited about that. I also am excited to bring back the Tamburitzans.
Everybody loves the Tamburitzans.
Yeah, I mean, I've had them here twice, and they've almost been sellouts. And they're coming back again this year in January, because when I talked to them, they said, well, we're close by. Can we come in January? Because we don't have any other shows then. And I said, absolutely. So we've kind of built in a snow date, just in case.
Just in case. Well, it is Butler County
I hate
in
to
winter
book
time.
anything in January and February because of that. But, and then I have another group that's wonderful that I discovered last year, the Alien Winds of Pittsburgh. It's the clarinetist from the Pittsburgh Philharmonic is involved with this wonderful group of musicians from the Pittsburgh area. And they're coming to do a wonderful program in February for us. And then, of course, again, the Pittsburgh Philharmonic will be here to do, we're changing it up a little bit this year. We're going to do a couple Sunday matinees.
Sure.
They normally did Friday evenings. We're doing a matinee in October, rather, with them on the 29th at 2 p.m. And then we're doing our holiday concert as a matinee on December 3rd here at 2 p.m.
Fantastic.
And then our two spring concerts will be in March and in May, and they're going to be on Saturday evenings at 7:30. So we have a whole different type of thing. All of our performing arts events are at 8 o'clock, and the Philharmonic are at 7:30.
So it's quite a robust calendar.
Oh,
You've got
yeah,
in the works.
I've got something going on all the time. And then our local artist series just happened to all fall into the spring, what we call everything after January, spring.
Of course.
It's really not spring, but it's our spring semester.
We're ready. Everybody's ready for spring.
Yeah,
by
we're
now.
ready for spring. But I have a wonderful group that I discovered, the Northwest Pasture Trumpet Trio. It's a very interesting group. The gentleman that's the lead of that is out of in charge of the Westminster Music Program. I'm part of that.
Okay.
And I've got them coming. I have coming back again is our local Butler High School Golden Tornado Big Band. Okay. And they are phenomenal. And if you haven't heard these kids perform, you got to come see it. I mean, I've been here probably every year since we've opened.
So a high school is doing
high
big
school
band.
Big band, and you wouldn't believe. You close your eyes, you'd swear it's a bunch of 60-year-old guys upstage playing instruments. They are phenomenal. Jeff Croner at the high school has just done a remarkable job with these kids, and they come in here playing original, like real arrangements, the stuff that the big guys play. You know, the same arrangements. And they do traditional stuff plus some of the new stuff that's come out.
Wow.
And it's phenomenal. They're terrific. And
It's amazing that in this day and age you have a high school that's doing big band.
Yeah, they're
Fantastic.
terrific. They really are. So they're coming back, and then I have another girl that's been here before, a cellist, local artist. She's coming back to do a different program this year. She did like a solo show. But she's doing something, it's calling Music of the Numbers. She's doing like a duet, a quartet, like all up to an octet, I think. She's doing all these different types of, different combinations of instruments and different things. That'll be
So she'll have some guest musicians with her.
Yes, she'll have some guests with her. So I said, Robin Hasenflu and friends. And then that's what, and I know, because I don't know who they are. So
Right,
I'm not sure she knows who they are.
That's fair. That's fair.
But and our last concert for this local artist is going to be in May. It's the Well-Strung Bluegrass Band. And they're out of the local area here. They're in different areas around the different communities. But they're wonderful. And the musicians in this group are very, very trained, classically trained in different venues and different styles of music, and they come together and make this wonderful bluegrass music.
Incredible.
So I've got a little bit of everything, something for everybody. Big band, I've got classical, I've got bluegrass, I've got just a little bit of everything this season.
You have what is obviously a very well-rounded, eclectic mix of programming.
Yes.
What's a little bit of the history of the theater itself?
Well, the theater opened, like I said, on August 20th with the first official performance in 2002. And it just
But how did it come together? I mean,
okay.
getting a new theater opened up
It's not
in
easy.
this day and age.
Especially one that we're blessed with having the facility we have here.
Right.
We have a wonderful fly system, a wonderful stage house, nice, easy load in and load out. Everybody loves to perform here, loves to come here. This all happened when we were building our building. This is part of the Science and Technology building.
Okay.
That was being built back in the late, like 1999, 2000.
Sure.
And there was a capital campaign going to raise funds to be, I know they got some state matching funds.
Sure.
But there was money raised, and when they got to a couple, Tom and Joanne Succop, I said, we'll give you this much amount of money if you put a theater in the building.
It's hard to turn that kind of offer down.
And they said, okay. So hence the name of our theater, which we've had questions about all over the country, the
Right.
Succop Theater.
Right.
It's, we're not sucking up to people for funds. They are actually Tom and Joanne Succop, and they're one of the nicest couples you'd ever want to meet.
Wonderful.
Fantastic. They've been here a number of times for different performances and different shows. And I can't thank them enough for making this all possible.
So not only just to their generosity, but the fundraising campaign, because of that,
Yes.
you've had this wonderful facility on the Butler County Community College campus for 15 years.
Exactly. And I wish everybody knew that, because we still are trying to get the word out to some people that haven't discovered us yet, which is hard to believe, but you know, that's fine, but we're here anytime they want to come by.
Well, if I wanted to find out more about the Succop Theater and the Butler County Community College Cultural Center, how might I do that?
Well, you know, there's a real easy way to do that. You can get on our website at bc3.edu/succop-theater. And that will take you right to our page, which tells you all about our upcoming performances. We also list the community performances that are coming up. Whenever I get information from them, I put it on our website. Sometimes I don't have as much information because they haven't shared with me everything about where they get tickets and all that sort of thing. But I try to keep that up to date and get as much information on there as possible about our upcoming performances.
So you don't even have to get a mailer. You can go on that World Wide Web thingy.
That thingy.
And find out about the Succop Theater and the Butler County Community College Cultural Center.
Absolutely. And I do, you know, local advertising, and hopefully people are going to see this production, this show, and I'm excited about this new program. This is awesome that we're doing this. I think it's really good.
Well, we're very excited to educate people and let them know about the wonderful treasures that are right here in Butler County that many people, to your point, have never heard of.
Exactly. I run into people like every day. Oh, there's a theater? Yes, we have 442-seat theater. It's acoustically very good in here too, by the way. The acoustics are terrific. With the Pittsburgh Philharmonic, you can hear every nuance of every instrument, and there's no amplification needed.
And with 442 seats, that's still a very intimate size.
It is. It's only 75 feet to the back wall, so you're involved with the performances very much so. Especially a lot of times with the smaller ensembles and groups, they love it because they can interact with the audience. And they love playing.
It's a much more personal connection that you can make with the audience.
Yes, it is, exactly. Got a quick example if we have the time.
Sure.
A number of years ago, we were fortunate to host the Opera Theater Pittsburgh to do a performance of Carmen Jones that they were doing. They performed it here, and then I saw the performance at the Byam Theater in Pittsburgh, and that's a wonderful facility. Of course. But I thought our performance sounded better than the one at the Byam Theater.
Just because
of the acoustics here,
the intimate design,
exactly,
the layout.
Yeah, so we were fortunate to have them here for that, and I was really glad I got to see the performance in Pittsburgh, to see the difference. And
Now, Larry, you have all this wonderful programming, but I mean, what's the pricing like?
Well, we have done a really good job keeping the prices down on this. You can purchase a season pass, an all-season pass for all 12 of our shows for only $135.
That's really incredible.
That's very inexpensive. You save, that's 25% off of the individual ticket price if you were buying them separately. You can also purchase the mini-series, the 4 Philharmonic concerts. You can purchase the 4 local artist series concerts, or you can purchase the 4 performing arts events separately in a mini-series of type of thing. And it saves you money on each one of them. The more you buy, the more you save.
That's fantastic. And if I wanted to get tickets to any of these programs, how do I do it?
You can do it by calling our box office line, which is 724-284-8505. Or you can go online. You can purchase tickets online at our website, which I did mention is bc3.edu/succop-theater.
Fantastic. So it's really not only a great variety of programs, but really, really accessible from a price point standpoint.
Absolutely. You can buy it from your phone. I mean, you can get on your phone and buy tickets.
Fantastic. Well, Larry, thanks so much for joining us for Showreel today. I certainly encourage anyone to get out there, find out more about the Succop Theater and the Butler County Community College Cultural Center. Go online, call the box office, and really get to know what this space is all about. Located just one block from Main Street in downtown Butler is a performing arts center that's been serving the area for over 76 years. So if you haven't been here yet, well, there's no time like the present. Welcome to the Butler Little Theater. I am with Katie Wayne and Sue Collar of the Butler Little Theater. And ladies, this is such an interesting space. Why don't you tell me a little bit about the history of the Butler Little Theater and this venue?
Well, Butler Little Theater incorporated in 1941, and we bought this particular space in 1945. This is an old carriage house. It was Campbell's barn at that point, and this is where we did many productions, of course, since 1945.
We have been in existence as a theater for going on 77 years. We're getting ready to start our 77th season. In late September is our first show this year. And we've done multiple things here, including a children's workshop, which has been very successful. We have been renting the building more recently for some musical acts. We've had a musician, we've had a stage production. And so it's a great space to use.
So you've been using the space for your own productions, but then most recently you've been bringing in other groups that will rent the space and do their own programming.
Correct.
So it really is a multi-use programming space.
Mm-hmm.
That's really quite fascinating. And the building itself, we figure, is about at least 100 years old, right?
Well, it's an old building, yes, absolutely.
For sure. And what kinds of programs do you like to do here at the Butler Little Theater?
Well, we have 5 shows in our season. So as Sue said, our first show starts in September and they run through May. Our workshop for kids, that starts in January. Registration is in January, and then shortly after the 10-week program happens, and then they have their productions usually in April. And then we have a production in the summer for the youth. It is youth directed as well as performed, and then they have adults supporting those programs in production. So
you have a this child workshop program. Tell me a little bit about that, because that sounds very interesting. It's actually 10 weeks long?
Yes.
It's 10 weeks long, and it's 3 nights a week. We have 3 different classes, 3rd and 4th grade, 5th and 6th grade, and then 7 through 12. Each teacher has an assistant to help them along with different rehearsal times and whatever, getting costumes together, getting set pieces. They learn to do things on stage as well, a few things sometimes off stage, but also to be able to interact with the audience. They learn poise and self-confidence, and it's always been very successful, and it's been going on at least 50 years. There have been a couple breaks, but probably for the last 25 years it's been consistent. So
these kids get a 10-week essentially training program about performing arts.
Correct.
From the basics to things get more complicated and more involved as the kids get older. But basically they're here for 10 weeks to produce their own program, is that right?
Yeah, so they'll do anything from skits to very short plays to, we've had some programs they do improv. It just depends on what the teacher feels is a good fit for that particular age group that they're working with. And it's a great program because they get to start from the very basics, as you said, to some things more complex in the production process.
And if a parent wanted to get their child involved in this, how much are they going to pay for this 10-week program?
It's $50 for one student, and then it goes up with additional siblings. And all this information can be found starting usually about late November, early December on our website, which is www.bltgroup.org.
Okay, so these kids can have a 10-week, essentially immersive program for $50.
Correct.
That's a really good deal.
Yeah, it is. And there's sibling discounts because, we realize.
And on top of that, the parents can get their kids out of the house 3 days a week for 10 weeks in the winter.
In the winter, correct.
That is tremendous.
And then at the end of the 10 weeks, then there is a production, depending on, again, the age of the kids, how extensive it is. But they will, the grandparents, parents, whoever is welcome to come and see. The final production is what we usually call it. And it's usually a full house.
And it's free of charge.
Free of charge.
That's really a wonderful community service that you're performing. But why don't you tell me a little bit about the season itself? What's coming up at the Butler Little Theater this year?
The first show of the season is Biloxi Blues, which is the Neil Simon show, and that will open the last weekend in September.
Biloxi Blues is the second chapter of a trilogy for Eugene, who at this stage is a new Army recruit in the era of World War II, and he's from Brooklyn, but he's stationed in Biloxi, Mississippi. So he's gathering all these events into his memoirs so that he can improve his writing. So it's a wonderful, heartwarming comedy.
Fantastic. And what's the next one?
The second show is Boeing Boeing, and that opens Thanksgiving weekend.
All right.
Boeing Boeing is about a Parisian sort of playboy of sorts. He has 3 fiancées who are airline stewardesses, and he has them scheduled so that they don't know the others are there or exist, but the schedule gets a little mixed up, and so comedy ensues. So this is a comedy farce.
Fantastic.
And the third show of the season is called Other People's Money, and that will be the end of January.
Other People's Money is a drama. So it is about a gentleman who liquidates companies, so he buys them up in order to split up the assets and make a lot of money. In this case, he's made his next target, and it is a person with a completely different thought process. So the conflict happens when 2 different priorities and thought processes come together and collide.
Is that the program that they made the movie out of years ago with
Yes,
like Danny DeVito and?
Exactly. So there's a movie based on that same
program. And then is that also, you said that's a drama?
Yes.
Okay, great.
And then the fourth show this season is called The Rise and Rise of Daniel Rocket, and that will be in mid-March.
The Rise and Rise of Daniel Rocket is a charming show. So Daniel believes that he can fly, and as a young man this causes a lot of ridicule, as you might imagine, among his school-age classmates. But then he proves that he can, and so he soars to fame and fortune. And so this is a very imaginative sort of production talking about growing up. It's a charming piece. It is also a drama.
Okay. Is that the full season, or is there still more to
We have
come?
one more, and it is Vanya, Sasha, Masha, and Spike, or something like that.
It is Vanya, Sonia, Sasha, and Spike.
All right.
And and it is in May, and this is again a comedy. It is about siblings in their adulthood with unresolved conflicts. It's very off the wall and wacky, as the playwright Christopher Durang is known for.
So you've got a full slate of programming that you produce right here at the theater. You bring in outside groups, do different rentals and different kinds of programming. You've been producing for going on 77 years.
Correct.
Now, in spite of all that, do you still find that people in Butler are still discovering the theater?
Absolutely. It's amazing how often we hear, well, I never knew the theater was here. How long have you been here? How could I not know about it? And that's a question we ask all the time. How could you not know about it?
I mean, it's a block off of Main Street.
Correct. Correct.
Matter of fact, this time on the way in, we even saw a sign that said the Butler Little Theater is this direction.
Correct.
So right on Main Street. How many thousands of cars go up and down Main Street every day that see that sign?
And if you're sitting at the corner of Penn and Main Street, you can see the top of our building. So that's how close we are to Main Street.
So you've been in operation going on 77 years. You've been in this particular building since 1945, and yet people, residents of Butler and the surrounding community, still are finding you.
Correct. And a new way that they are finding us is that we now have an improv on a Saturday night. It starts at 7 o'clock, and it's about once a month or every 6 weeks. And again, that information will be on our website.
And if I wanted to find out more information about the Butler Little Theater, how would I go about doing that?
Well, you could look in the newspaper, the Butler Eagle. You could go online to www.bltgroup.org, or you could go to our Facebook page.
Truly, it's amazing. You can find out about the Butler Little Theater on the internet. You can go to their website. You can go to their Facebook page. You can go old school and find them in the newspaper.
You can also find out about us on Dave Malarkey's radio program called It's Your Turn on WISR 680.
The Butler Little Theater, which is going on its 77th year, is a wonderful jewel of a performing arts center right here in downtown Butler. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Strand Theater on Main Street in Zillionople. Now, having been a founding board member of the nonprofit Strand Theater Initiative and having served as its president and executive director for 16 years, nobody knows more about the Strand than I do. But that's not the format of the show. So let's go inside and meet somebody who knows almost as much about the Strand as I do. Why don't you do the interview yourself anyway? Everyone knows you like the sound of your own voice. Nevertheless, that's not the format of the show. Let's meet our next guest on Show Reel. I am with Jeremy Zarniak, the Associate Director of Theater Operations here at the Strand in Zillionople. Jeremy, thanks for being on Show Reel.
Absolutely, thanks for having me.
All right, now it's the quiz time.
Okay.
What can you tell me about the Strand Theater?
All right, well, it was originally built in 1914 by Joseph and Rosalie Sapienza. Now, he wanted to build a fruit market, but a local banker in town convinced him that they could use a theater in town, so he decided he'd give up 2/3 of the building for a theater, but still keep 1/3 for the fruit market, and that's how the Strand came to be.
Excellent.
It was, at that point, silent films, mostly, and they had a piano player playing loud music. It's rumored that the piano player only knew a few songs, so she would speed up or slow down depending on how the movie was going. That's kind of funny.
That is great.
In 1939, it had its first real renovation where he gave up his fruit market and the whole building went theater.
Yep.
And at that point it was converted mainly to films, first-run films and features.
But then, and then of course, time goes on, and then what happened from there?
It continued to be in operation till the early 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And then it sat empty for almost about 20 years. In 2001, the Strand Theater Initiative began, and in 2009, the renovations were complete, the theater reopened, and has been presenting professional live theater and films ever since.
Fantastic. So what kind of programs were here from 2009 on?
Well, there's been everything from concerts to big name entertainers like Debbie Reynolds, who actually opened the theater when it reopened.
That's right.
Other notable names you might recognize: John Oates, the Celtic Tenors. We've had Paige Davis, who's back on television.
That's right. The Trading Spaces is back on. That's right.
So, and many other Broadway performers over the years. We've got small original works that we do here, smaller concerts, professional concerts that we bring in from out of town, touring things that are wonderful entertaining shows. And then the big book musicals, things like The Music Man and Jesus Christ Superstar are two that we've recently produced here. So just about everything.
So everything from smaller concerts and professional touring artists, Broadway stars and international touring stars have all been here. What kind of things are coming up at the Strand now?
Well, we've got a brand new Broadway and Main series that's just about to start. We're beginning with Annie, the musical. And it's the 40th anniversary of Annie, actually.
40th anniversary of Annie.
40 years we've been singing Tomorrow.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. And so we're very excited to have such a huge, great, big show here with our wonderful professional company. We've got some great talent in the show that people would know. A Pittsburgh legend, Tim Hartman, who's also been on Broadway as our Daddy Warbucks. And we've got Karen Hearn, who's a newcomer to the Strand, but is known for an international touring company of Guys and Dolls, where she played Adelaide.
Oh, fantastic. And
another favorite here at the Strand, Michael Mara, who was on Broadway in Les Mis, but has been in several shows here and is a tremendous actor-singer. And our Annie is a local girl. Her name is Ella Heasley, and she is an incredible performer who has not only done musicals, but performs with jazz bands, and recently was here at the Strand with the John Burke Band. And I was amazed at how professional she was, and they would throw a song out and she'd jump right in there and sing a harmony, and it It's pretty remarkable. So we're really thrilled about having her.
So we have this wonderful production of Annie, the musical, coming up, and it's such a small space, though. I mean, how can we possibly do a full book show on that stage?
It is, it's very cool, actually, how we do those things. It starts with a good set design. It's really important. For this show, we've brought on professional designer Scott Calhoun, and he has, actually I could...
Sure, yes.
This
What a surprise, we have this
little
model.
idea of what we've got. This is just one scene design. It changes, folds in, folds out, things move. Really a brilliant design, and it's going to utilize this space very well. We have a cast.
That's really incredible. Look at this.
Look at this. Yep, there you go. You can open it out, and
oh, that's going to be great fun.
Very excited about having this design, and with a cast of 20+ people, we also have, of course, live musicians. This show, our musical director is Nancy Gordon-Galuso, who has done work all over Pittsburgh, and we're very glad to have her.
So Annie is the big kickoff for the Broadway on Main series for 2017-2018. What else is going to be part of the package?
Well, we've got 2 other concert shows, one of which is called Sing It, Sister, which I'm excited about because it's about all the girl groups, going back to the Andrews Sisters, and then all the way up to contemporary groups like In Vogue and the Spice Girls and different.
Oh,
so
that's amazing.
Cover
So
all
like
kinds
almost
of
like
music.
a history of these all girl groups, all the great harmonies and things that over the course
and
of
if you
years.
like harmony singing, these women are phenomenal. It's going to be pretty amazing what they can accomplish. And then the other show is a tribute to Marvin Hamlish.
Marvin Hamlish.
Yes. And Marvin Hamlish, of course, many know, was the principal conductor of the Pittsburgh Pops.
Right.
And fortunately, I had a chance to work with him twice.
Really?
When he was conductor. He saw my off-Broadway show that I was in called Zombies from the Beyond, which everyone knows.
In other news, there is a show called Zombies from the Beyond.
Yes. And there's even a cast recording that you can...
All right.
Available for purchase.
All right.
But I had a song and dance number called Atomic Beat. It was a song and dance tap number, and he remembered it. And when he was here with the Pops, someone had mentioned my name, and he's like, oh, I know him. He did this thing. So lo and behold, I get a phone call from Marvin himself, not somebody in his office, and he asked me if I would come and perform that song mashed with another one, a Fred Astaire song called Shine on Your Shoes. And
wow.
You know, I had to think about it, but
yeah, that'd be...
Of course, I said yes immediately. And what's really cool about that show, one of the things that will happen in that show, Marvin sent me a cassette tape by messenger the next day. And it's him talking about it and playing it on the piano in his living room.
Wow.
And so I'm actually going to restage that number with that tape of Marvin playing the music in his living room.
That's really going to be amazing, and something you certainly won't be able to see anyplace else.
Kind of exciting. No, it's definitely going to be something very unique and pretty special, I think.
So the Broadway on Main series, which certainly sounds like it features genuine Broadway and national touring talent.
Right, exactly. Each show has at least one Broadway headlining personality. So it's really great that here on Main Street in Zelienople, we are attracting those performers. And I think it's a testament to the Strand that the show quality, it's a small industry, it's a small world.
Right.
And everybody talks to everybody.
Right.
And the good news is that they're telling their friends, oh, you should do a show at the Strand. It's great stuff, and it's a great place to work, and the people are fantastic. And so we've been fortunate to be able to continue to get that kind of talent here.
Well, one of the things that we've been discovering just doing this show is so many performing arts centers and cultural jewels in Butler County, their biggest challenge is finding their audience. And what have you heard about people who may not be familiar with the Strand? Like, they might know where Zelienople is, but they don't know how to get there from here. How do you overcome those kinds of challenges?
Well, the first thing I always say is it's not as far as you think. It's really only 25 minutes or less from downtown. I personally commute from the South Hills, and I'm here in 35, 40 minutes, 79, straight shot, easy to get here. I think there's maybe for those who haven't been here, a misconception that it's a community theater or it's that type of show that we put on.
Right.
And I know from experience that once someone comes and sees a show, it's immediate. Their immediate reaction is like, "Oh my God, I had no idea that's what you were doing," and finding the audience is those people telling their friends and other people, yeah, no, that's not like a community theater show. You need to see what they're doing out there with professional actors and sets and band and lighting and you know, just an experience that is very cool because you're so close to the stage. It's a very intimate house, an intimate space. You're never more than really 25 feet from the stage, no matter where you sit in here.
Right.
So you don't get to do that. If you go to the Byam, you know, or if you go to the Benedum, or you know, if you're in that second balcony, you know, it's pretty.
You need your binoculars.
You do need your binoculars. Here, you won't need those. You may need a raincoat if you sit in the first row, because the spit can get right on you there. You're that close you could touch them.
That's the splash zone. That's right.
But it's exciting to be that close to it, and it's exciting to do big shows in that space because you don't get to see them that way. When you go to see these shows, you usually have to go to a large venue.
It's almost as though the audience is brought right into the show.
They really are, and we kind of incorporate that with the theater and the way the theater is designed, is really using every space in the theater for theatrical production. You put actors in different places, not just on stage sometimes. So it really kind of does pull the audience right into the middle of the story, which is really unique.
It's amazing. Well, it certainly sounds like an incredible package of shows. Very different than what you might expect to find in a town like Zelienople, because it's all professional performers. It features Broadway stars and national touring stars. So it really sounds like it's something that's very different and very unique that you wouldn't expect to find in Zelienople. So maybe that's why, if you think about that price point, it's not something you would expect to find typically. It is professional it's professional, has great production values, outstanding talent and stars right here on a stage that's 25 feet away.
You're real close to it. You can find parking, and it's free.
Free parking, and you can find parking. Well, that is something that you can't find downtown for sure.
You get that quality show, and that's a real bonus, I think. So.
Well, it sounds great. That's the Strand Theater's Broadway on Main package, which includes Annie from the 40th anniversary. It includes the music of Marvin Hamlish and Sing It Sister, and all kinds of fantastic holiday-themed shows and touring artists. Definitely visit the Strand's website, which might be what?
It is thestrandtheater.org.
Thestrandtheater.org, because there is the internet. So
that's out there.
It is out there. You can find information about the Strand at thestrandtheater.org.
Yes.
Great. Well, thanks so much for your time, Jeremy.
Absolutely.
Look forward to a fantastic season here at the Strand.
Us too.
The Strand Theater isn't just about professional programming featuring Broadway stars and classic cinema. It's also about the youth and arts and education programming. And with me today is Marianne Mangini, the director of one of those youth initiatives, the Strand-tastics. Marianne, thanks for being on Showreel.
Oh, thank you, Ron.
Well, what can you tell me about the Strand-tastics? How did all this start?
Well, the Strand-tastics is a group, a show choir, that contains the ages of 7 through about 17, and we perform all over the area. But you asked how it started. It started actually out of one of our main stage productions here. I was on board as the youth music director, and I just so enjoyed working with the kids that I got a gig at the Scottish Rite Cathedral in Newcastle, and I thought, wouldn't this be neat if I took the kids with me? I'm sure the people would really enjoy them. So we went, and it was so well received that I just thought, I got to make this dream come true and create a show choir.
Fantastic.
And so it kind of grew out of that.
So you've been, well, I mean, you must love kids. Now, personally, I got for my own, I don't like kids.
But I don't have any of
you
my
love
own.
Kids.
So these are my kids.
So they're your kids.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And so you started this youth show choir. How long has it been together now?
Actually, we completed our second year. So we're entering our third. We're having auditions on the 29th of August for our third season.
Fantastic. And so what types of shows does the show choir do?
Well, we perform all over the area. We do some community service projects. Most of them are, actually. But we go to different nursing homes. We go to certain community events like horse trading days. We just did a Sunday over at the Passivant House. So different, community events in the area. But then we also have our larger scale projects, which include performing at the zoo for the National Kidney Walk.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. And we did Kidapalooza, which was at the David L. Lawrence Convention Center last year. We're working on, we did Light Up Night in Pittsburgh.
Oh, first night.
Light Up Night.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm so proud of them. They always rise to the occasion, and it's such a good group of kids. I never worry about their behavior or representing the theater while we're out and about, because they're just wonderful.
Now, you perform yourself all over the Pittsburgh area. I understand with jazz bands and some swing groups and things like that. In fact, I understand you've even performed with Johnny Angel and the Halo several times.
Yeah.
But, so how do you manage to work all into that, work through all that, and still find time for all these great kids?
Well, very little sleep. No.
I get that.
Yeah. I mean, I think teaching kids and educating is my first passion. I spent 8 years in the public school system before I decided to move on and pursue performing.
Right.
But now I get to take some time out and form this group, and it satisfies my need to teach and my love of show choir and performing and giving back to the community. So it's the best of every world. So you can make time for the things that you love.
I guess that's a very true statement. It sounds like very much a handful, though, between performing all over the city. I know you still perform in all kinds of shows.
Yeah.
In fact, I think you might be coming up in a show at the theater here sometime soon.
Yes.
You're Grace, are you not, for our Annie the musical production?
Yep, I'll be playing Grace Farrell. And as a little girl, I always wanted to be Annie, but if I couldn't be Annie, I'd love to be Grace.
Well, we are certainly looking forward to that. And my goodness, you have quite a full plate.
Yes, but it's a beautiful full plate.
Fantastic. Well, that's Marianne Mangini is the director of the Strand Tastics. You can expect to find them all over the city, and it's going to be a wonderful experience if you get a chance to come out and see them. And it's a youth show choir, ages 7 to 17 approximately. That's quite a span of time, too. All right, well, that is Marianne Mangini, the director of the Strand Tastics. Thanks so much for joining us, Marianne.
Thanks, Ron.
You know, I've heard about certain venues facing challenges because of location, but the Musical Theater Guild, that's a story unto itself. But once you find your way through Memorial Park to their venue, it's completely worth it. Oh! I am with Eric Snyder and Barbara Oshie of the Musical Theater Guild in Butler. Now, what can you tell me about the Musical Theater Guild other than the fact that you cannot get there? You cannot get here from there. I could swear I heard banjos when we were driving into town.
We have heard a lot of people have fun. So if you want to find us, you have to come into Memorial Park and go clear to the back of the park as if you've gone into the woods, because that's where yeah. So it's very hard to find, but I usually try to explain to people when they're calling for ticket reservations where we are exactly located so that they can find us.
Well, once they find you, tell me a little bit about the guild. How did it even get started?
It got started back in 1962 in a barbershop conversation between a man named Carl Mann, who was very much in the theater, and his barber, whose name was John DeMille. John was very involved in commercial products, trust fund for exceptional children, and they were wanting to do a fundraiser. Okay. So he asked Carl if they had any ideas about what they could do. And because Carl was in the theater, he of course suggested that he do a musical theater show. Okay. So Carl went to some of his friends, William Lennon, who was very instrumental in us getting most of everything that we have here. And they decided to do a show. The first show that they did was called Pajama Game. And it starred Claudette Zanzotti and Wilbur Dunbar. Bill directed and Carl produced it.
And where was it produced?
It was back in those days we didn't have this building. So rehearsals had to be done in any space that they could find. Local churches, community centers, stuff like that. That was where they rehearsed. They built a scenery in any abandoned storefront that they could find, or people's garages or whatever. They didn't have a permanent home back then.
Right.
And so they did the show itself at the Butler High School. It had just opened not too long before that.
They opened into a brand new building for all intents and purposes.
And they sold out 2 performances. Back then, tickets were like $1.50. They made like thousands of dollars for the charity. And everything was done by volunteers, of course, mostly the way we are now.
Sure.
And they had such a good time doing it that they thought, we should just keep doing this. So they got together and they had meetings, and then in 1963 they decided to incorporate and become officially, a group. So they've been doing shows ever since. Since then we've done approximately probably 144 shows of our own, and then we've done shows at the Sawmill Theater in Cooks Forest. Normally what we do is like our summer show, since it was a smaller show that we used to do here, we would redo it and go to the Cooks Forest and do it. And then the KFC used to have us come and do shows in their building up on McCain Street that was across from, or North Street, I think it was North Street.
Okay.
Across from the junior high school, we'd go there and redo a show for them occasionally. So, and we've done other shows like for Dinner Theater at the Days Inn. Since we didn't have a permanent location, we've done shows at the Butler High School, the Intermediate High School, the Junior High School. Used to be St. Fidelis, which is now Summit Academy. They had a nice auditorium there. We used to do shows there. We used to do shows at the Cultural Center at the Butler Community College. But now, since they have the Succop Theater, that's where we do our shows most of the time now.
So since 1962, all for a fundraiser, that's how it all began. That was the groundswell of the history of the Musical Theater Guild.
And then they got tired of being gypsies, traveling from not having a permanent home. So Bill Leonard went to the city in 1989, I think it was, and signed an agreement with the city for the 2 acres that we have here. And they started to build this side of the building. So and
this is really just this is the scene shop,
right? And we have our costume area and our props area, and this is basically where we build the set and store things.
Right.
Then in 1970, they actually had this side of the building done. And then Bill Leonard, through donations and things like that, decided that they wanted to add on and put a rehearsal hall, so they would actually have more room to do that.
Sure.
So 1985, I think it was, he started getting things together to get raising funds, and the other side was built by volunteers mostly, myself included. I put insulation in, and pounded nails, and so I have a lot of stake in the organization too.
Sure. Well, the growth has been from basically this space, which is your scene shop, and then you were able to add on a rehearsal space.
Right.
But now that rehearsal space is now a performance space, isn't it?
Exactly. The first show done on that side of the building, the first show that was rehearsed there was Camelot in 1984. And then 1985, they opened and did the first show over there, which was called The Fantastics.
Of course.
And then
longest running show on Off-Broadway.
Yeah, so then we really like doing shows over there because it's a nice intimate setting. And we usually put up about 70 or 80 chairs, and it's real nice because it's like you're right there, and it's almost like you're part of the show sometimes because you're so close. And then Bill got sick, and like I said, he was one of the most instrumental people. Most of what we have and most of what I've learned about theater, I learned from who we call Uncle Bill.
Fantastic.
So in 2009, a lot of the people in the organization got together and we said, we need to do something for Bill. And at that time he was sick. So in 2009, we dedicated that side of the building to Bill, and now we call it the William A. Leonard Performance Hall. So whenever
Hence the sign on the way in.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So
Excellent.
that's pretty much our history,
Fantastic.
and we've been going strong ever since. But you know,
And how long have you been with the organization?
This is my 38th year.
38th year.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. And Eric, how long have you been with the Musical Theater Guild?
I did my first show with them in 1982.
Well, you got a little history with them yourself.
So how many years that is, I don't know.
And
That's been a while.
we didn't only
Yeah.
we didn't only just do shows. We used to go to
Whoa!
we used to go to local schools
What is this?
and churches and do a puppet show. The puppets that were used in Carnival back in 1963 were made, and then they started doing puppet shows for kids and going to all the different schools and everything.
Fantastic. This is a puppet from 1963.
1963.
Would you
He's
mind?
still in good shape. Yeah.
That is
We had, like,
wonderful.
And we had many of them. This was one too. I think this is Mew Mew. You can hold Mew Mew.
Oh, I can.
And Carrot Top. And we had a girl that used to do props with us all
These
the
are
time.
great.
Mary Jo
Oh dear, I just ripped it on the
Moan
inside.
Cover. She used to write the scripts for the puppet show, so it was pretty funny. And that was really fun. We
That
used to
is
have a lot of
wonderful.
fun with
These are
that.
great.
And the kids loved it. The kids loved puppet shows. And we haven't done
This
it
wouldn't
for a
frighten a child at all, would it? Not at all.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
so-
Well, thank you for sharing that with me.
Yeah, so that's part of our history too, with some of the things that we've done. And over the years, we try to donate to charity as much as we can. We are a 501c class nonprofit organization, and we try to do as much for charity as we can and be involved in the community as much as we can.
That's
So,
absolutely wonderful.
right.
Eric, what kind of programs can I expect to find at the Musical Theater Guild?
Oh, we're going into our 56th season, and we're
Wow,
really excited about
that
it.
is
We're
fantastic.
starting in the fall with Beauty and the Beast.
Like contemporary classic.
Yeah, we're performing that October 13th, 14th, and 15th at Succop Theater, Butler County Community College.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2018, we're doing our fall show, which is the First Date.
First date.
First
Right.
Date, and the performances of that are April 20th, 21st, 27th, 28th, and 29th.
Wonderful.
That'll be here at our
Here in
William A.
your
Leonard
performance space.
Yes.
All you have to do is get here.
All
You
you
just
have
have to
to
figure out how to get here, but once you figure it out, it's well worth the trip.
We're actually very close to Butler. We're just hidden and tucked in.
Fantastic.
So yeah, we were a little bit hard to find, but we're not far away.
Well, how can I, if I want to try to locate you, what's the best way? How can I find out more about?
For people that have GPSs, our address is actually 100 Memorial Drive.
Okay.
But if they would come Mercer Road, and you can get here off of Mercer Road, there's a sign up off Mercer Road that shows come down the park. But then once you're in the park, you just have to remember to go clear to the end.
All the way. Just keep going,
Yeah, just
and you'll
like
get there.
if you're going to the woods, up into
Fantastic.
the woods. And we do have a sign down at the bottom of the driveway.
But if I'm looking for information about the guild, if I want to be a volunteer, or if I want to get tickets to a show, is there a place that I can go to that might be virtual that I could get information?
Yes, mtgbutler.org.
mtgbutler.org.
Yes, our
That's our
tickets are
website.
available there. Our membership brochure is available there. Information about our shows will be available there. We also have a summer show, July 13th and 14th, and 20th, 21st, and 22nd. We're doing Jerry's Girls.
Oh, that'll be a great
That'll
one.
be a great
And that's going to
one.
be here in this
That's
space
gonna
as
be-
well.
Yes, it'll also be in this space.
So you're doing more and more of your own shows
Right.
right here.
And
Fantastic.
we also had a lady involved that was a great lady and did a lot for the organization. Her name was Dot Pascaluccio. So after Dot passed away, we started a scholarship for Dot that we give away every June for any high school student who's going on to college. And if they've done shows with us, then they qualify and they can submit an application.
Oh, that's absolutely
And we
wonderful.
pick, a winner every year and give them the scholarship.
and it can be whatever they. I mean, they can as long as they've done shows here. It's not like you have to go into theater or you have to be a specific major or anything like that. You just have to have a history of working here.
Of working with us and being part of us. We'll give you the scholarship. So
wonderful.
So that's nice. It's a good way to remember. And I think the community college has a scholarship that they started for Bill Leonard scholarship too.
Sure.
And so it is a way to help the kids who've come here, and some of the kids that have come here, they've grown up with us. Their parents were in shows and they were just toddlers.
Right.
And now they're grown up and they're going to college and they're doing shows with us, and that's what's really great. But we are always in the need of volunteers, because there's no one gets paid except the orchestra.
Right.
And so we're always, you don't really have any talent to come and paint scenery or work on costumes or whatever.
Right.
We're always willing to show you how to do it if you don't know how.
So volunteers, of course, are always welcome here.
Great way to meet a lot of people. Are you interested?
I have my own theater. It kind of keeps me a little busy, but I'll keep that in mind for the future.
Okay,
but you did mention about membership. Now, what's a membership involved?
We pre-sell, well, what does it involve? With a membership, you get tickets. You get coupons for tickets.
Right.
And it's a little bit cheaper than buying the tickets, so you actually get a break on the price.
If you buy a membership, or what we call membership season tickets, same thing. For example, the cheapest one we have is $45.
Yes.
And our tickets normally run $17.
All right.
So if you buy a membership for $45, you're saving $2 and some odd cents. Plus there's a fee on when you use a ticketing system.
Of course.
There's always a fee.
Right.
For those guys. So you can save money on not only the ticket price but that fee.
Okay.
If you buy a membership, because you get a coupon with a code and you put the code in. You go in online, or if you call me and I put your reservation in for you.
So you have membership availability, you have individual ticket prices, and you have how many shows for the upcoming season?
3.
So 3 shows for the upcoming season. And it just sounds like a wonderful space that you're growing out here. You'll go out into other venues on occasion, it sounds like, to go and produce some shows and make some appearances. And if you want to be part of all this, you can find them on that website, which again is
mtgbutler.org.
mtgbutler.org. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to visit with us on Showreel. Musical Theater Guild in Butler. Find out more about them by going online or just coming into the park and wandering around for a half hour like we did. Thanks you so much.
Well, thank you.
In this short space of time, we've already visited some outstanding destinations for arts and culture right here in Butler County, and we've barely scratched the surface. So be sure to tune in to the next episode of Showreel. If you'd like to find out more about arts and culture in Butler County, PA, be sure to visit the online calendar on the website of the Butler County Tourism and Convention Bureau.